Hey everyone, let's talk about gathering spice with no worm sign. And before we get started, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, consider giving it a like, or do something really crazy like subscribe and click the notification bell. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, let's get something out of the way first. You don't have to have special equipment to do this. I've done this with a regular static compactor and regular boots that have no worm sign aggro reduction. You can literally do this with any equipment. Okay, so obviously the first rule is you can't be doing this with a group of individuals because they're not going to play along with what you're doing and the worm is just going to aggro really quick. The next thing is there's no hard set rule on how many times you can compact the sand before you stop and just gather it up. 10 is a really good number. I've done it with 10 with just a regular static compactor and regular boots. And you don't have to leave your sand out there on the ground once your inventory is full. You can see I do it twice. So the next thing you need to do is get into your orny and fly up somewhere between 450 and 500 meters. Stay there just a few seconds and then come right back down. This is going to reset the worm aggro back to 0 and you can start over it. So the next question I'd like to answer is, does this work with flour sand? And the answer is absolutely, it works with flour sand. I sped this clip up, I think 3 times, compacted the sand 10 times, waited for it to collect. This is a low stress gather. I really like gathering sand this way, knowing that I'm just not going to see the worm. Does it work on a large spice field? Well, as long as you adhere to rule number 1, which means you're doing this solo, of course it works on a large spice field. So you're probably thinking, this must be much slower than just normal gathering, waiting for the worm to pass through and then coming back down, but it's not. If you think about it, when that worm breaches, you hop in your orny and you're up in the air for at least 30 seconds or longer before you come back down, start harvest again. Not to mention the stress involved. This is not any slower than just doing it normal. Okay, this last clip is just proof that this works and that I didn't clip the videos to remove the worm every time it showed up. This is an entire medium field that I'm clearing at 6 times speed. While you're watching me clear this field, let's review. You must be solo. You cannot do this with another group of people. Approximately 10 times with a compactor. I've done 12, I've done 13. I'm really just clearing the field around me, and if it makes sense to hit it another couple times, hit it another couple times. You're not going to aggro the worm. You need to fly up after you gather your spice sand to about 450, 500 meters. Adjust based on the size of the dune hills you're on. Some of them are a couple hundred meters up to begin with. You just want to reset that aggro for a few seconds, come back down, and start again. It does work on the medium fields. Of course it works on the flour sand, and of course it does work on the large spice fields, so there's no reason to put this away and go with another tactic. This is just as fast, if not faster, than letting the worm aggro on you and having to wait 30 seconds, maybe even a minute for that worm to finally disappear. And you don't need special equipment to do this. So guys, this is a great way to harvest sand stress-free. Hey, if you made it this far, type no aggro in the comments. Okay, you're still here. I guess you wanted proof that this works on an entire field solo. Or maybe you're hoping there's a few more thoughts here. So I do have a few more thoughts. Here we go. I don't know how many compacts it's going to really take to aggro the worm, and that's going to vary on your equipment. And I never tested it with another person working with me. I am not sure if that coordination is going to work real well, but I'm sure it has to do with the total number of compacts on the sand. You might get away with 20, both of you doing 10. But I would think both of you probably need to have some pretty good equipment if you're going to try that tactic. you've heard that the worm will kill you if any part of it touches you. And although that's true, let's define what that really means. The sand moving above the worm that bumps you up and over is not the worm touching you. I've had this happen multiple times. I've seen it happen to other players, and the worm just doesn't kill you that way. So it's not quite as bad as you think. So here's another benefit of not aggroing the worm. If you're past the PvE line out there in the PvP zone, you're not going to attract those people who are just looking for worm sign to say, oh, there must be a player harvesting over there, let's go gank him. That's not going to happen because you're not going to aggro the worm.